All right, let's dive right in. We're talking about a massive shift in the housing market today. Baby boomers are on the move in huge numbers. They're looking to downsize, to simplify their lives. But what starts out as this beautiful dream, well, it can sometimes twist into a real financial nightmare. So, let's get into what's really going on behind the scenes. First things first, let's just wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this trend. I mean, this isn't some small little niche we're talking about. This is a whole generation that is fundamentally changing the entire real estate game. So, what do the numbers actually tell us? Take a look at this. It really shows you the kind of market power we're dealing with here. By 2026, boomers are on track to be 53% of all home sellers in the US. Let that sink in. That's more than every other generation combined. So yeah, understanding their journey, the good and the bad, isn't just interesting, it is absolutely essential. So what's behind this huge move? What's the big pull? It's the dream, right? The promise of a better, simpler lifestyle. For so many, it's about finally escaping that house that's just become too big, too pricey, and way too much work. This phrase, it's from a real ad, and it just nails the vision they're selling. It's not just about getting a smaller house, it's about upgrading your entire life. It's that lock and leave promise where you can just travel and not worry about a thing, because you're surrounded by pools and gyms and, yeah, even pickleball courts. And the money part? Wow. The logic is incredibly powerful. Just look at this one couple's story. They went from their huge dream house, where property taxes were a staggering $40,000 a year, down to just $8,500. And their utility bills slashed to a third of what they used to be. I mean, those are numbers that get your attention. You look at a list of perks like this, and the appeal is just undeniable. A beautiful home, resort-style living, and you never have to mow a lawn again. It really does sound like the perfect retirement. But, and this is a big but, lurking behind this perfect picture, some really brutal surprises can be waiting. Okay, so let's peel back the glossy cover of that brochure and get into the harsh reality that a lot of folks are discovering. And these surprises, they often start with the very basics of what you think you're actually buying. And here it is. This is the first trap. You see this beautiful standalone home. It's got a yard. You just assume you own the whole thing, right? Just like your last house. But legally, you could be in for a massive shock. It all boils down to this little legal term, the detached condominium. See, it looks like a house, it feels like a house, but you don't actually own the lot it's sitting on. You own the building itself, but the ground underneath it, the roads, all that common space, that belongs to the HOA. And trust me, that distinction changes everything. This right here, this is the detail you absolutely cannot afford to miss. It's buried in all that legal paperwork, but if you see the word unit or condo used to describe what looks for all the world like a house, that is your giant red flag. It changes all the rules about your rights and what you're responsible for. And a lot of these problems start way before you ever get the keys. They start with shortcuts the developer took years and years ago. In one community, that meant things like the recycled water for everyone's landscaping getting diverted to the golf courses during a drought. It meant people getting stuck with 10-year-old refurbished cable boxes. And for one poor family, it meant the developer literally lowered their lot, which created an absolute drainage nightmare. And that was the bill to fix that nightmare, $17,000. After fighting with the developer for 5 years, the homeowners just gave up and had to spend their own money to put in a proper drainage system just to keep their yard from becoming a total swamp. So unfortunately, even if you manage to dodge all the developer issues, you can walk straight into another minefield, a badly mismanaged homeowners association, or HOA. And the author's own brother found this out the hard way in that exact same community. Just imagine, you're settling into your new life. You think all the big expenses are finally behind you, and then a letter from the HOA shows up. That's the moment the dream just smacks right into reality, because turns out, for years, the HOA had been completely botching the budget. First came the gut punch, a $10,000 special assessment, and it was due in just a few weeks. This wasn't for some cool new community pool either. This was just to cover 5 years of budget screw-ups and to build up the reserve funds that were legally required. Oh, and it didn't stop there. On top of that huge one-time bill, the monthly HOA dues were jacked up permanently by over $200.
So the new owners were suddenly on the hook for years of past mistakes and having to fund the future.
And look, this kind of mismanagement has consequences that go way beyond your bank account. In one building, a broken elevator literally trapped residents who couldn't use the stairs in their own homes for weeks. Then, when the HOA refused to pay the bill, the contractor put a lien on the building, which froze all home sales. One owner lost a $500,000 cash deal because of it.
Okay, I know that sounds pretty grim, but it doesn't have to be your story. You can absolutely protect yourself. The key is you have to switch your mindset from being a hopeful buyer to being a forensic investigator. So here's a practical checklist to help you do just that.
This four-step process is really your best defense. Number 1, get your eyes on those legal docs and hunt for those keywords. 2, investigate the HOA's finances, and we're going to dig into that more in a sec. 3, think beyond just the sticker price to taxes and future care costs. And 4, really look at the home and the community for how accessible it will be as you get older. You know, when you dig into these documents, it's all about asking the right questions. The board meeting notes, they're going to tell you all about past drama and fights and clue you in to big costs coming down the pike. The reserve study, that tells you if they actually have enough cash saved up for huge future repairs, like a new roof for the clubhouse. You have to know, is my money funding the community's future, or am I just paying for its past? And when you're thinking about future costs, you have to think long-term. This number, $16,000 a month, that's what some residents in these communities are paying out of pocket for 24/7 in-home nursing care. Planning for potential expenses like that is every bit as important as checking out the HOA. So here's the bottom line. That resort living, lock-and-leave lifestyle, it is absolutely possible to find. But it's not a simple purchase anymore. It means you have to be proactive. You have to ask the tough questions, and you have to do the homework to find these hidden risks before you sign on that dotted line. In the end, it really all comes down to this one question, doesn't it? And the difference between the two is knowledge. By doing all this due diligence, you're not just buying a piece of property. You're buying the peace of mind that you were looking for in the first place. And that right there is the real dream. Thanks for joining me.